Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to the Wayfarer Path series. Today we're going to change tack a little in that I recently visited a bookstore in Urdu Bazaar, Darul Isaac, and I went a bit crazy in my books buying. And while I was searching across the books, across their English collections, which unfortunately is still quite limited, all the more reason to learn and to encourage actually to learn Urdu also and Arabic and Persian so that they may be able to access the limitless treasures of religious books that have been written in these languages. We don't give enough, not even close to the due respect for these languages, which we should. And again, if not for oneself, then definitely for our coming generations. So, limited edition of Islamic books in English, but nonetheless, sufficient enough for me to spend a long time in happiness over there. And I came across this hidden treasure, this book by Hazrat Mufti Shafi RA, who was a Grand Mufti of Pakistan and is the late father of Hazrat Taqi Usmani RA. The book's name is The World Within. What a simple name and so profound, The World Within. So I saw this cover and I was like, ooh, what's over here? And lo and behold, I was not disappointed when I opened it and I couldn't put it down. And it came into my heart to that I would like to talk on this actually. It's a very simple, very accessible book. I encourage everyone to read it. After, and this is the second point, first one being that encourage and inculcate within our children to learn our languages that have a long history, a long legacy of being connected with our religion and having innumerable treasures written in these languages that they may have access to it. The second one being the first lesson being this, the second one being that yes, when accessing especially books on religion, it's incumbent upon every Salik to ask their Shaykh if they can access this book, if they can read these books or not. I must admit that I didn't ask Shaykh Saad before buying these books, and it guilt-tripped me a lot. So I asked Shaykh Saad and I apologized to him. Okay, Shaykh Saad, I just entered this bookstore and I just went crazy and I couldn't stop myself. And all I had to simply do was to send a picture to ask for permission, right? And usually he grants it. And then he told me that it's okay. I've given you blanket permission to read this book and books by Hazrat Taqi Usmani RA. Anyways, in line of adab and keeping to the tenets of tasawwuf, it's critical that we always take permission from our Shaykh, among other things, also taking permission to read books, especially religious books, even worldly books. I think it's very critical that we take permission so that we may not drop into the pitfalls that even righteous books may have a certain sality because they're not ready to access it, they're not ready to understand it, and they may come across texts that confuse them. So on that note, so I started reading this book and I remember it's a very, very easy read. So what we're going to do over the next, I think 13 chapters there are. Right. So however many chapters that every week, inshallah, we are going to try to cover a topic or two. Right. And the first topic is the science of the tasawwuf and its subject. Again, sounds very technical. So this book, The World Within, I think people joining over here can completely understand what is being alluded to over here, or I don't know if alluded is the right word because really, when you start reading this book, you understand that there is this vast, limitless universe that is within us. And we keep hearing of it. And it's one thing to read it, another thing to experience it. But going through this book, I think the initial flavor of that experience comes over there. It's an incredible book, and I think it's very helpful to give words to experience of accessing this world within, this limitless world within. So, Shafi Usmani Sahab, he starts off that you and I were human beings, and we love ourselves for it. We're very proud of it. It's all well and good. But he puts the question, have you ever thought that what does being a human being mean? What is it that makes us human? Is it the flesh, our blood? Is it our hands, our eyesight, our five senses? Is it our running about our daily activities? Is it our mind that enables us to think, to talk? Is it our status as perhaps business owners, as owners of wealth? Is it a person who has a wife, servants, can decide if he wants to what he has subordinates, can scold them, can chide them, can make them happy. So is it all these things that makes him a human? And he's like, okay, this is so, okay, all these things making human is he's doing all these things. Then how come is it that when his life passes away, right? He's just a dead piece of flesh that's lying on the floor. How come is it that he's no longer a human? Right? What is it about that moment that no longer makes him a human? What is it about that moment that no longer all these things we spoke about? He had this wealth, he had houses, he had a wife. All of that has now been disbanded. He has his wife could remarry, for instance. His wealth has been dispersed. His office that he was used to go every day, where his subordinates would cower, he was a strict boss, and now they no longer. He's just a figment of their memory, and slowly even that fades away. So, what is it? Like, what happened in between that makes him no longer human, right? Because if it's just a lump in flesh, if it's this body, if it's a material world, then that dead piece of flesh, that body should also constitute him as human, right? But no person in the right mind would say that oh look, Saad is lying over there. Well, no, if it's my body lying over there, someone else's body, life is left. That this person, Zed, is lying over there, right? They'd be like, no, the body of Zed is lying over there. The body of Saad is lying over there. And this is where he brings in that, okay, fine, if it's not the body, then what is it? And he brings in this, if it's not that, then there has to be something else. And that something, according to him, and to every self-respecting Sufi and a Muslim, is the soul, right? It's the revolutionary difference in this dead body and this alive was that there was a soul in between, right? The soul within one's body that was giving life to this person. And as soon as the soul left, then bye bye. This person is no longer there, and he is gone away. It was the soul that enabled him to carry out his activities in his life. Usually makes one think that how often in our daily activities do we realize this also, right? That barring the soul, this body is nothing. And how much time, as we'll expound over this, and how much time we spent on satisfying our bodily needs, which are important, but not giving time to nourishing the soul. And it's because, all the more so because it's this soul that separates us from life and death. Something to think about. So I'll quote over here that a human being exists in two spheres. One is the material and physical world, which we can see with our eyes and touch with our hands. And along with physical world coexists another world, a hidden, secret world, which we can neither see nor feel. This is where the soul resides, right? So this hidden, secret world that is hidden and secret only to the extent that we do not access it. I think every human being knows that they have a soul, that they have a ruh. Every Muslim believes in it as part of their faith, right? Um, we hear about how we were on the plains of Allah, and Allah asked us that if He was your Lord, and we all attested that Allah Mia was our Lord, and we hear in sermons and from our parents, from our religious teachers, how we have this ruh inside us, the soul inside us, right? But it's not like it's completely secret. But I suppose it's hidden and secretive because we don't give much time to think of it, and if we do give time to think of it, we don't explore further, right? And this is where being a Sufi really sets one apart from the rest, in that this is our main focus. The main focus, its nourishment, so that we may lead fulfilling lives, and to through the soul access our ultimate purpose, which is to get to Allah. Like this soul, the secret world, is the vehicle to accessing Allah. I suppose it's secret because Allah hasn't made it easy to get to Him. We will have to expend much effort, and this is one reason why. Now, just like and Mufti Shafi Usmani Sahab goes on to say that, look, just like a body, right? A body, it needs nourishment, needs the right amount of food, the right kind of food, the right quality of food. It requires exercise for it to be healthy. And if one doesn't do that, then the body suffers, right? If you don't eat properly, you don't eat in proper quantities, you don't eat in proper quality, you don't exercise, you don't sleep on time, you don't do all sorts of things that our bodily obsessed culture nowadays sits on to live forever and stay young forever. But if one does not do this, and then the body also, I'm not saying one should exercise, you should do all this. But if one does not partake in it, then slowly your physical, your outward body, it starts suffering. Similarly, our internal world, our soul, if this is not nourished properly, right, then it too falls sick. And you should notice also that all desires, wishes, longings, these all come from our soul, right? And these feelings that come out from happiness or grief, hatred or love, greed, selflessness, these are all nurtured from within. And the quantity and quality of these differing natures, right? Happiness, sadness, selfishness, selflessness, the weight and its manifestation of either will depend on how much nourishment of the soul happens, so that it may in a way overrule or have control over the body. If the body has more control, then it leads to all sorts of problems that we just spoke about, that these negative traits, they come to the fore. So similarly, if one doesn't nourish one's soul, then all these sorts of issues, these diseases of the soul, they start coming out. Anger, selfishness, pride, ostentatiousness, all these sorts of issues. Now, this outer world of ours, this is governed through Islamic jurisprudence, through fiqh, right? Our namaz, roza, hajj, uh, zakat. All these are governed by fiqh, right? And again, to remind you all that this is a foundational requirement, a foundational belief, foundational practice that one has to have if one is to move towards this inner secret world. And this inner secret world is governed, which is nourished through zikr and supererogatory prayers and nafal and going above and beyond the call of duty. This is governed by the science of tasawwuf. It's tasawwuf that seeks to explain and explore and experience this inner world. The access to our inner world, its understanding, its experience, is through the science of tasawwuf. The science of tasawwuf, and this is contained within our heart. Now you can ask that what is the heart? And if you ask the physical heart, it's a throbbing lump of flesh that is shooting out blood, and this is the physical heart, right? But then what is the spiritual heart? The spiritual heart is completely different, right? Heart or soul, if you will. Again, to remind you, this is where all the desires, emotions, feelings, this is where it comes from. So this is where it comes from, right? And it differs completely from the sort of the physical heart that we speak about when we talk about the heart. So how are these two forces connected with each other, right? How come is it that this person, Zaid, we call him, this person was alive, right? And we all agree that it's not his heart, definitely it's his heart that's keeping him going in a physical sense, but what causes his heart to stop, right? And we agree that this was the soul, this intermingling of the soul in the body, this inner and outer heart that enables you and me to exist. And if the soul leaves, then the body is no longer. So what is this heart, right? Or rather, more importantly, what is the relationship between these two? And here I am sorry to say, we don't know. In fact, the Quranic verse goes, and it's in there by Shafi Usmani RA. It's ayat number, it's in Surah Rule, verse number 85, which is that Kurruki min amri rabbi wama utitum min al-ilmi illa qalila. Say, its nature is only known to my Lord, and you, O humanity, have been given but little knowledge. Right? So we don't know what is this force that connects the two, that governs between the two. Allah knows best. But it's critical to know that the smooth functioning of the soul, our existence, this is what the Tasawwuf teaches us. It's our outward existence, our outward success, and indeed its ruin and utter destruction is dependent upon how much we nurture our soul, right? How much we allow it to smoothly function. And here I'll quote a hadith also by Nabi Kareem, which says, he said that there is a lump of flesh in the body. If it is sound and healthy, then the whole body is sound and healthy. We're talking about the soul. And if it is corrupt, then the whole body gets corrupt. This lump of flesh is the heart. Now, what is meant by keeping one's heart healthy, not corrupting it? What causes it to get spoiled, to prosper? What are some of the diseases? How do we cure them? Now, these are all topics on tasawwuf. Right? And inshallah, going forward, these are some of the questions that we will cover and hope to answer. So that's it for now. This is the first chapter that we went over, which is the science about tasawwuf and its subjects. Next week, inshallah, we'll go over the second chapter, which is the need to cure spiritual ailments. I'm very excited to go over it and read it. And we may even go over the essence of the tasawwuf and excesses committed in history. So, on that note, do you have any questions? We have a question. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Please explain if the soul lives on after death. Do all souls live or just that of the righteous people? Also, what type of life does this soul have in this dunya after death? Good question. So, doesn't Allah say in the Quran that do not? I'm paraphrasing over here. You should. I'll look up the exact verse. That about the shaheed, right? Those who are martyred in the path of Allah, that they are alive in their graves, but we do not perceive it. Right? So absolutely, the soul lives on after the physical death, after the body stops functioning. Right? And the life that this soul will have in this dunya after death will depend on the sort of life that he had in the dunya when he was connected to his physical self. In order, if he or she was righteous, then because I'm reading this. Yeah, I think I was reading it in Maruful Hadith that Hazrat Nimani, I'll get the book reference inshallah next week, that if they led a righteous life, then the three questions that will be asked right after people leave, after burying the person, three questions asked by the angels. I'll get that also answered. Then if that person is able to answer that correctly, then that person will be in their grave, comfortable, and will be given a vision of the delights that await him in the hereafter. And if not, it's pretty bad. So definitely, to answer your question, yes, people do live. We call it barzakh. People are alive. We say intikal ho gaya. We don't say he's dead, but intikal ho gaya, proper terminology. Again, all the more reason to understand Urdu, to cherish it, and to understand it. But we say that this person is the intikal ho gaya, right? And this person is now in their grave, and they are leading it comfortably if they led a righteous life in their existent life, and a tough one if they didn't. So, yes, it does live on, and how it lives depends on how they led their life. Next question. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. On the topic of souls living, I just had a baby boy 2 days ago. MashaAllah. Congratulations. Very happy for you. Allah bless you. And your child. And your son. And it's amazing to see how Allah breathes the soul into a body even before they're born. In fact, I'm in the hospital as I type this. Wow. MashaAllah. Yeah, I'm amazed by people joining this channel. All these mutalashis of Allah. This person is in hospital right now. And I've been a couple of times when my wife gave birth to our child, and I know how tough it is. So, mashallah, how enthusiastic this person is to get to Allah. And it's amazing to see how Allah breathes a soul into a body even before they're born. In fact, I'm in the hospital as I type this. Need your du'as, especially as my baby is facing a bit of complication. Jazakallah. Of course, absolutely 100% du'as with you. And indeed, it is an amazing experience. The first time you put sight in front of your child, and that's a whole special feeling in itself also. And this is definitely an aspect that I think everyone should ponder when they sacrifice how Allah breathes a soul into his heart. This was a lump of flesh. Procreation cycle, and somewhere there Allah has breathed into a soul into this lump of flesh, and this lump of flesh became a sound, born a Muslim, born with a fitrat Islam. And I think if we add this aspect also to when I put inside our child, I think it will bless it even more so because we bring Allah into this, right? Mufti Qalbi is what? Always being cognizant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this cognizance through this, I think, manifests itself more beautiful. So thank you actually for sharing this. And this is something that I'll keep doing next time. Then Jazakallah Khair, please also share a list of English books approved by Shaykh Saad that we may consult. Yes, so definitely I'll share with you. So one is definitely the Qur'an by the Taqi Usmani RA, and let me just get you another book also. Another book. Couple of books actually. One is Ma'arif al-Hadith by Maulana Muhammad Manzoor Maulana. This is a book that is out. So, yeah, Ma'arif al-Hadith, Meanings and Messages of the Creation. Very accessible book. So, and I think it gives you a very strong, a good base on the Sunnah of the Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Very accessible, very enjoyable, very unputdownable sort of book. And then there is the Abidi, right? This is the autobiography of Kutub al-Adab, Shaykh al-Hadith, Hazrat Maulana Muhammad Zakaria Azari, the progenitor of many of the books of our revered the Big Jama. Very Ajib book. Also unputdownable. I can start reading it. Amazing book. One can really learn how to enact many behaviors in one's life because these are people who use Shaykh al-Hadith, right? So you don't just become a Shaykh al-Hadith by reading, you also become by imbibing the lessons that you're learning, right? And he was a great Buzurg of ours, also in the path of Sufism. And I think one can come closer and closer to the Sunnah by reading such books. Since we're reading so much about Steve Jobs and Bill Gates and whoever is catching the latest fancy, depending on their bank account balance, all the more reason to access such books also, because as I mentioned earlier, that the outward success of this outward world, its success or failure, is dependent on nourishing the soul, and nourishing the soul is through reading books such as these. So I think that's it then. Jazakallah everyone for joining, and inshallah see you all next week. Take care. Assalamu alaikum.